Show page 21, Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor LeDavid, Avol Adonai ben Adonai, Bakoach, ay, Kol Adonai, Behadar, Kol Adonai, Shover Arazim, Vaishaber Adonai, Et Azei Alvanon, Vayarkidem Kemo Egel, Levanon, Besirion, Kemo Venreim, ay, Kol Adonai, Chotzev Lavotesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yecholel Ayalot, Vayechesov Ye'arot Uvechalo Kulo Omer Kavod, ay, Adonai,
Lama Habu Yashav,
Yeshev Adonai,
Melech Le'olam.
Dayos Li'amo Yiten Adonai Yevarech Et Amo Vashalom. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Our Lachadodi tonight on page 23 is a little different because at Shabbat Chazon we're not quite as festive on this Shabbat. So it is the tradition to sing Lachadodi to the tune of Elitzion, which we'll be singing, of course, tomorrow night after Shabbat. Elitzion, my God, Zion, we mourn. Okay. Lechadodi, yeah.
Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu elam yuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila, Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, Ki makor abaracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof maseh b'machshavat techila, Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Last two stanzas, page 25.
Yamin u'smol tifrotzi, V'et Adonai ta'aritzi, Al yad ish ben parsi, V'nismecha v'nagila, Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, Lechadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha v'tzahala, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala, Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabelam. Lecha dodi likrat kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela.
Please be seated. My mind was flashing with images. You know, Lecha Dodi was written in the 16th century in Sfat by the Kabbalists. And every Shabbat they faced Jerusalem as they were welcoming the Shabbat. And I can only imagine what it was like on Tisha B'Av when they were singing to Eli Tzion, Lecha Dodi. This chain continues. It's very powerful. So we remember on this Shabbat as we prepare for Tisha B'Av. Let's say Shabbat Shalom to everybody who's here. Just a little welcome. A little welcome, my partner. Good to see you all. What a group of people. How I love you all. So good. Good to see you. Hi, kids in the back. Sebastian, Chloe, and Tzipora. Let's continue now with Mizmor Shilion. Let's finish with Tzadik Katamar, the closing of the 7th of the Shabbat Psalm on page 28, I think. Yeah.
Tzadik Katamar Yifrach Ke'erez Balvanon Yizkeh Shetulim Beveit Adonai Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu Od Yenuvon B'Seiva Deshenim Berananim Yeyu Lahagid Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri Velo Avlatabo.
Page 29.
Adonai Malach Geyut Lavesh Lavesh Adonai Oz Hitazar Avtikon Tevel Baltimot Avtikon Tevel Baltimot Nachon Kisacha Meaz Me'olam Ata Nasun Harot Adonai Nasun Harot Kolam Yesu Naharot Dachyam Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Mishpereyam Adir Bamarom Adonai Adir Bamarom Adonai Edotecha Nemnu Mod Leveitcha Nava Kodesh Adonai Leorech Yamim Adonai Leorech Yamim Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Mishpereyam Adir Bamarom Adonai Adir Bamarom Adonai.
Mourners and those observing outside, please join with me in reciting the Kaddish for our loved ones here and as well as the home. Please rise. Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba. Bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chai yechon of yamechon. B'chai yedechol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala uvizman karim v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'lam l'mei al-maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal, shmei d'kudesha v'rechu. Le'ela min kol bechata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chayim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, Huya says shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'imru Amen. Peace upon their souls. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. I'm very excited about, especially about tomorrow morning, to share you something very, very interesting that I just came upon from memoirs in Jerusalem, but that'll be for tomorrow morning. You know, I'm seeing the kids here, and of course, we have to build and have more children coming here. But in my interactions with children, and the rabbi comes to speak to them, sometimes in a class situation or a group, the youngest kids, like Zipporah's age, the one question that I always will ask the rabbi, let's see if Zipporah would do this, Rabbi, did God make the dinosaurs? I usually ask something about the dinosaurs. And then when they get a little bit older, sometimes the older kids like Sebastian and Chloe would ask, what happens to us, Rabbi, when we die? That's been my experience with the children. And very, very good questions, of course. But I will never forget once I had one child who had time to ask the rabbi question, and it was about an 8-year-old kid, and asked me, Rabbi, what is the meaning of life? That's a huge question. Very powerful for an 8-year-old kid. Never forget that. And of course, I congratulated the kid. I said, that's really the ultimate question. So I thought about that because it's Tisha B'Av, and we're really dealing with some very important issues here, global issues, national issues, personal issues about our Jewish past and how we relate to that. And I think one of the big questions is, how do we find meaning in life when so often when we reflect on the past, it hasn't been always very easy. It's been very difficult for our people. How do we find light in the midst of what has happened to our people's struggles along the way? How do we retain hope? What are our dreams? What is our life all about? So I mention that because I would guess that in your conversations with people, this question usually doesn't come up. People talk about what's going on with their kids, or maybe some gossip about someone in the news or something like that, or even some of the day-to-day things that are taking place, the economy. But I cannot remember when I've been in a circle of adults when someone says, what is the meaning of our lives? It's a very interesting question. And in our tradition, I've been thinking obviously a lot about my own personal loss the last few weeks. But it is a tradition. My mother didn't do this, and my father didn't either, but it's a beautiful Jewish tradition to prepare an ethical will before we die. Not the legal and the financial stuff, but an ethical will, in which we really attempt to tell our loved ones, especially our children and grandchildren, our perspectives on life, what is most meaningful in life to us. We probably should have a session on all of that. There is that is a very good exercise, and does emphasize that we Jews are constantly asking the question, what is the meaning of our life? I'm thinking also of the passage before we even get to the Baruch Hu in the daily minyan, we say, Ma chayenu, ma tzitkenu, what is the purpose of our lives? It's in the Siddur every single morning. What is the purpose of tzidkenu, of our righteousness, of our goodness, and all the string of questions. It's one of the most powerful sections in the Birkat HaShachar section in the daily service. What is the meaning of our lives? There is since we mentioned the Kabbalists in Tzfat, there is a Kabbalistic notion that every one of us carries a unique, singular message of God that nobody else shares. And that the task in our lives is try to find that. What is unique about us that we are sharing with the world? Different than every other human, every other Jew, every other human being. So it's a very interesting concept. And reflecting on what we're reading in the Torah tomorrow morning, the beginning of the book of Deuteronomy, of Devarim, we have Moses, who is someone who the book of Exodus tells us couldn't speak. Lo yefshar ledaber. He could not speak. And yet, the last book of the Torah, Deuteronomy, are all Moses' words. They're 3 farewell addresses to the people. So he learned a lot in life, and he was able, what the book of Deuteronomy really is people, before I die, and before I leave you, because I'm not going to come with you to the land, Eretz Israel, I want you to hear what I have learned in this life and share that with you. So all those moods I think are very important this particular Shabbat before Tisha B'Av. And I had the task of trying to, if I were to summarize in a couple short sentences, you might be interested in what I came up with as far as a quick answer. This is so multidimensional, but a quick answer to the question that brilliant child asked me: what is machayenu? What is the meaning of our lives? And this is what I jotted down. So, God created the world, and the Torah tells us it was not finished. History began. God made Adam and Chava, the first human beings, which are us, to be God's partners in this creation, to help God with creation. We are assigned to finish the work of creation. This tension between Shabbat, the way things ought to be, and the rest of Yemei Chol, the days of the week, as things are. This tension between where we're going and what they are. We're partners with God to try to bring the whole world up to the image of Shabbat, of peace. We encounter this world with different emotions. There's chaos, there's also order. There's much evil in the world, but there's a lot of good. There's much darkness, as we're remembering Tisha B'Av for sure, but much light as well. And so our task is to take these dysfunctional parts of creation and to try to, as God's partners, every single day we should be thinking of this. How can we make the world around us a greater balance of light, goodness, and order each and every day, in making the world as it ought to be, and to feel the pull from the Almighty, to be compelled and commanded to do so every single day. And then in many words, it summarizes a lot of what the Jewish vocation is and why we're all here. And perhaps as I share this with you in this difficult Shabbat and reading Moses' words, that we come to the beginning of answering the question about the meaning of our lives. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please rise, just some thoughts. Please rise, page 39a, the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Amavorach.
Baruch Adonai Vorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Amavorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. The first bracha, praising of God's creation. Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu Moshe Rabbeinu Merivim Chachma P'tei Sheli.
Umavir Yom Umevi Laila Umavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila Adonai Tzvaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu L'Olam Va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Amariv Aravim.
Amen. See, this partnership is the bridge is Torah, God's gift of love to the people of Israel. Let's read the second bracha on the English on page 40. With timeless love, you have loved your people, the house of Israel. You have taught us Torah and mitzvot, statutes and laws. Therefore, Adonai, our God, as we lie down and as we rise up, we shall speak of your laws, rejoicing in the words of your Torah and in your mitzvot forever and ever. For they are our life, the fullness of our days, and on them we shall meditate day and night. Do not ever withdraw your love from us. Baruch atah Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
V'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Amen. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשפך ובקומך, וקשתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך. Page 42. ולעבדו בכל לבכם וכל נפשכם ונתתם מצארצכם ביתו. הישמרו לכם בנפרד ושבתם אלוהים אחרים ושבתם. שנתתם ושמתם זורעי אלה על לבכם וגם נקשם שתמתם להיות על ידכם, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניכם ולימדתם אותם. למען יהיו בימיכם ודמכם על שמעותיכם, לתת להם כי מהשמיים על הארץ, ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור. זכרתם כל מצוות ועשיתם אותם. ואני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Mi chamocha, page 44.
Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osefele. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze Eli anuvi amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
On page 45, we're going to read the prayer for peace, the Hashkivenu in the English. A reminder, one of the horrible occurrences in our history, there were 3 major crusades in Europe, with the Holy Crusade to conquer Jerusalem, and thousands of Jews were slaughtered. They were given the choice, either convert or die, and most of our ancestors chose martyrdom. And this prayer was most likely written during that period. And I believe it was the Second Crusade began on Tisha B'Av. So, again, the sense of historical foundation. Let's read and try to envision what our ancestors were thinking in the 11th and 12th century. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel. And save us for the sake of your name. Shield us, remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Baruch atah Adonai.
Baruch Shemo.
Haporei sukat shalom. Aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael. V'al Yerushalayim. V'al Yerushalayim. V'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
V'shamru, please rise, page 46, the gift of Shabbat.
V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה,
אמן.
בעלמא דברך ירתה וימלך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם לא מעלמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבחתה ונחמתה תאמירה ביומה ויאמרו amen.
Our silent Amidah for Shabbat evening, page 47 through page 52.
Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 sfatai tiftach. Ya la 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 ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ya la 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 Adonai. Ya la 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 sfatai tiftach. Ya la 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 ufi yagid tehilatecha. Ose Shalom Bimromav Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imaru Amen. Ose Shalom Bimromav Uyase Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imaru Amen.
Vayachulu, page 53.
Vayachulu Hashamayim V'Haaretz V'Chol Tzevam Vayechal Elohim Bayom Hashvi Melachto Asher Asa Vayishbot Bayom Hashvi Mikol Melachto Asher Asa Vayevarech Elohim et Yom Hashvi Vayakadesh Oto Kivo Shavat Mikol Melachto Kivo Shavat Mikol Melachto Asher bara Elohim Asher bara Elohim Lasot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Agadol Hagibor Vanora El Elyon Konei Shamayim Varetz Magen Avot Bidvaro Mechaye Metim B'mamaro Ha'el HaKadosh She'en Kamohu Hameniach Le'amo B'yom Shabbat Kodsho Kivam Ratza Lahaniach Lahem Kivam Ratza Lahaniach Lahem Lefanav Navod B'yirav V'achad V'nodeh Lishmo B'chol Yom Tamid Me'on HaBrachot El HaHodot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShabbat Uvarech Shavi Umeniach Bikdusham Le'yamedu Shnei Oneg Zecher L'maaseh V'reishit Eloheinu Eloi Avotenu V'imotenu Retzeh V'imnuchatenu Kadshenu B'mitzvotecha V'tein chelkeinu B'toratecha Sabenu mituvecha V'samchenu B'shuatecha V'taher libeinu Le'avdecha be'emet V'hanchilenu Adonai Eloheinu B'yahava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha V'yanuchu v'Yisrael Mekadeshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Kaddish Shalem.
Yitkara v'yitkara Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Yomad derech yirteh v'yamlech malchutei b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael b'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimaru.
Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach Li'olam lo me'omaya Yiparach
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשא
בריחו.
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תשבועתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ויאמרו
Amen.
תתקבל צלותן ובאותן דכל ישראל קדם אבון דבישמיה ויאמרו
Amen.
יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו
Amen.
עושה שלום במרומו והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו
Amen. It's Chloe, Sebastian, Tzipora time. Come on up for the Kiddush. Do we have the little grape juice? Thanks, Jordan. Come on up, kids. We need you. It's Kiddush, page 55. Please rise, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. You have your? Oh, you have. Yeah, I want the kids to be here. There you go. It's grape juice time. Good. Here we go. Thanks, Marsh. Thanks, Jordan. You guys ready? Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kadsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu Zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila le'mikra'e kodesh Zecher litziat Mitzrayim
Everyone.
Ki vanu v'acharta V'yotanu kidashta Mikol ha'amim V'shabbat kodshecha B'yahava uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Good to see you guys. Get to see. I saw you this week. Your week is good. Okay. How's the grape juice? You still working on it? Slurpee. Okay. Please remain standing for Aleinu. Thank you, guys. Shabbat Shalom.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol L'tet gdula liotzer breshit
Shelo asanu kagoye haratzot V'lo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama Shelo sam chelkenu kahem V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim U'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz U'moshav yikaro b'shamayim imam U'shchinatu zo B'gavhei meromim Hu Eloheinu einod Emet malkeinu efesulato Kakatu b'torato V'yadatayam v'hashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai hu Elohim B'shamayim mimal V'yal haaretz Mitachat Einod ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא Bayom Mahu Yeh Adonai Echad
Ushama
Ushamo
Ushama Echad.
Please be seated. We pause to remember our loved ones. This week are the yahrzeits observed of Rose Yaffa, Morris Bachuk, Etta Ostro, Alfred Rubel, H. Ronald Fagan, Saul Florsheimer, Julius Eisner, Vivian Green, Murray Haber, Rose Goldberg, Diana Kuhlman, Victor Moskowitz, Louis E. Nahon, Harry Lieb, Ted Newman, Jesse Mark Isaacs, Judy Leibowitz, Irving Ramey, David Rubenstein, Richard Mishkin, Lillian Serret, Gerd Schindler, Lauren Kobling, Philip Polofsky, Philip Sonderman, Francis Berger, Eva Berger, Saul Markman, and Adolf Wiesner, all of blessed memory. At home and here, we rise those who are in mourning and those remembering yahrzeits and join together in the Kaddish Shatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, b'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon of yamechon, b'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'izman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'lam v'lamei maya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yitpahar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalel v'yitalal shmei nekudusha, b'richu, le'ela min kol bechata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran b'yalma v'yimru, amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, huyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. Their memories are blessings and continue to be. Please be seated. Jeff, are you? Announcements. Very good. Hodaut. My pleasure. What an honor. Always.
Shabbat Sholom. Thank you, Rabbi Al Scholler and Stan Mitchell for conducting the service, and a special thank you to Susan Weintraub for getting the people at home online. We appreciate that. I'll make the announcement short because some of us have a late dinner to go to. I hope everybody's enjoying the resurfaced parking lot. There's still some irrigation, landscaping, and lighting to be completed, so when you leave, maybe not so much tonight, because we'll be out before it gets too dark, but especially tomorrow night, be careful when you walk on the new decking until we get the lights on. Tomorrow morning services, 9:30 in the sanctuary. Tomorrow evening, Tisha B'Av services, 7 p.m., a light dairy meal right here in the hall of the chapel, followed by services starting at 7:46, which is sundown? Okay, around 7:45. Tisha B'Av around 8:30. Here in the chapel and also live streamed. Morning minions, Zoom, Sunday through Friday, 8 to 9 o'clock. And Bima baskets this weekend were sponsored by Bobby and Will Laurie in honor of their 61st anniversary, Elaine and Marks, thank you, in honor of their 65th anniversary, and Becky and Jeff Miller in honor of their 47th anniversary. We have a few guests tonight. Could you just stand up and tell us your name?
Maureen Rogers. I've just moved here from Chicago.
Glad to have you.
Chicago's really nice this time of year, but when it gets dark and gray, you will love being here. Anyway, welcome.
Welcome, welcome. Anyone else? Yes? That's about it. So a night to follow in the social hall. Oh, I'm sorry, in the hall. And Shabbat Shalom.
Sweet. Let's conclude on page 73. Shalom Aleichem. Peace unto you.
Ya la la ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Asharet Malachei Yon Mimelech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Boachim L'Shalom Malachei Ashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruchuni l'shalom Malachei Ashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Tzedchem l'shalom Malachei Ashalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Shabbat Shalom.
I wait all week to hear the last two words from this man. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Well, why is this necessary? She's in the community? I just don't understand why that's necessary.
So really, the purpose, is to do tikkun olam, to repair the world for the Shekhinah to dwell.
Well, that is, it's not that the Reform Tikkun Olam.
The what? No, you have to bring Mashiach. Mashiach, King Mashiach. You go to Eastern Parkway, there's signs all over.
I know, he's here already, died, yes.
Well, no, that's Menachem Mendel Schneerson, but I don't know. Most people don't believe that. First of all, Mashiach was born on Tisha B'Av.
That's right.
So you have to go through the birth records to see if he was born on Tisha B'Av.
I was not ready for Tisha B'Av. I am out of the running.
I want you to know that the thing in the message about gratitude is the touchstone and cornerstone of Judaism, my spiritual, and my spirituality and my recovery.
I know.
And I gotta tell you, it's the best thing.
Gratitude
I
is
say
the essence of
Moediani
all
every
this.
morning, and I read Moedim Anachnu Loch
Every day.
every day.
Jordan, are you technologically
It's so great with you.
are you technologically literate?
Yeah.
Teach him because what probably happened to you to be rebooted. You know how to do that? But you're not here on this radio.
Well,
So
somebody, I'm teachable.
you're teachable.
I'm teachable.
No, I'm serious. You need a,
Susan will teach you. She's a great teacher.
Troy taught me. So he's a real tech guy.
She doesn't know what an aliyah is. It's not that you can do it. She wants to just give them away. That's the big thing with like it's like a pearl. I just it's so hard to explain. All right, the shoe.